So, the other
Hi,
thing I wanted
welcome
to Dog Fanatic. I'm your podcast host, Penny McKinney. I'm a lifetime groomer involved with everything dog related. Others refer to me as the dog whisperer, dog healer, dog magician, dog wizard, whatever your nickname for me is. It's okay. So, I just talk about everything dog and I just kind of know things and I get involved with everything. It's just I absorb the information and I share it with everybody anyway. So I've just decided to expand my audience. So today's podcast will be pertaining to humans in most sizes, from children to teenagers to adults, preteens, everybody. So let's start with children. If you have a child, just kind of watch their behavior with dogs. Are they very involved with dogs? Do they like dogs? Do they tend to go off on their own with dogs rather than people? What do they do when they're with the dog? Do they try and train them to sit? Do they just like to go for a walk with them? Do they like to go on a grand explore with them? Do they like to comb or brush them? Without you telling them to do any of this, just what is their relationship with dog? Is it one particular dog? Is it many dogs in the neighborhood? Do they tend to play hide and seek with a dog? Do they like to run with a dog? Do they like to teach it tricks? What do they like to do with dogs? So keep an eye on that because that is a way definitely of bonding with a dog. And if a child is liking interactions with dogs, it just makes their life a lot better and the dogs a lot better. So today I'm going to start talking about different things that you can do with dogs. I do want to put in a quick thing. There's a big, heavy movement, at least in the United States, for rescue dogs. There's a big get a rescue, don't buy a dog. However, I'll tell you what, they are pretty similar in price either way. So at least if you decide to get a purebred dog, great. You know exactly what you're getting. The genealogy is there. So you know what you're getting health wise. I mean, occasionally something might pop up that you're not expecting, but you're pretty safe with a purebred dog that has a 5 generation pedigree. Uh, and with something that you get from dogs that you don't know a background on at all, as far as temperament, coat, you've got allergy problems, all these problems, a lot of that can be weeded out with selective breeding. So anyway, if you decide, or if you get a dog from a puppy mill, or because a lot of people go in these puppy mills and they feel so bad that they spend thousands of dollars for these dogs and they bring home a dog that is a mess. Well, this podcast I'm talking to you about today will help all the dogs overcome whatever they've gone through. So even if you buy a purebred dog, some people buy them from farms. They've never met a human being other than the person throwing some food to them. The puppy mills, a lot of them are raised in a very small kennel for years, or for months anyway. I know of one in particular for 9 months. And it was living in urine and feces and fed in the same area, and the dog is stained, and it's taking a while for me to get that out of its coat. Not to mention it's not temperament problem. She's scared to death, but she's coming out of it because I'm working with her in a way that I'm not keeping her in the past, but I'm giving her a future. So that's what this podcast is about. It's let's move ahead with these dogs. Don't feel bad for them because that was yesterday. They want to forget yesterday. They want to forget a year ago. They want to forget 2 years ago. If we still feel bad for them when we get them, especially the puppy mill or the abused or the ones that we save, if we have that mentality where we keep them in yesterday and last year, they're never going to leave it behind. You're not going to allow them to leave it behind. So, this podcast is to help your dog come out of it also. I mean, there are some things that rescues can't do, but there's a lot that they can do, and this will help. I'm going to start with showing, confirmation showing. So, this is only for AKC registered dogs. The only ones that they really don't want at the shows are when a female is in heat for obvious reasons, because dogs, they'll end up in a fight and whatever over a female. So females are really not allowed at the show when they're in heat. The other thing about getting a female, if you do, is every heat cycle they blow their coat. So it's something to think about. Where males have a much more healthier natural coat because they don't blow it all the time. So anyway, confirmation. So if you have, I would suggest that you go to a show, a dog show, with all dog breeds, because there are specialty shows that will do just one breed or two breeds, whatever, or a group. I would suggest go to an all breed dog show and bring your child and just kind of observe, watch, make sure. There's one huge rule at dog shows, and it should be everywhere, not only at dog shows. If you ever want to touch a dog, you always ask, one, because you'll mess that hair up. And they need it just so for the confirmation ring. After they come out of the ring, they're a little bit better about you touching. But there are some, if a female's going into heat, a male might be a little crazy. And so people will say, I'm sorry, no, you can't touch the dog. You can ask questions, but you can't touch a dog. There are reasons why, as if they're, something going on in their life right then, if they're upset, concerned, whatever, you always ask permission to touch a dog. It is not okay for one dog to go up to a completely strange dog and play. That's not a normal situation. That's how dog fights start. So a lot of people allow it. It's not a good idea, because you're putting your dog at risk, you're putting yourself at risk, and you're putting the other dog at risk. Not a good idea. And if you have children, you're putting them at risk. Never let strange dogs meet. Ever, ever, ever. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, so confirmation shows. Yes, bring your child to a confirmation show. See where they go, what they're doing. They have the toy classes. They have the companion dog classes. They've got, which include the Dalmatian. They have sporting dogs. They've got the hounds. They've got, oh my gosh, they've got the working dogs. They've got everything. They've got all kinds of different dogs. Watch where your child goes. See where that they're more interested. There are different things that you can do. You can go out and you can buy a show dog. Um, and you can show in either AKC, which is American Kennel Club. You can show in CKC, Canadian Kennel Club, or you can show in UKC, United Kennel Club. Dogs are usually under one of those kennel clubs when you buy them. AKC has, you dress a little bit more fancy. CKC and UKC, you can dress more casual when showing a dog. CKC, I'm just trying to get everything in here. CKC and UKC, they are dual quality. So dogs that show in confirmation, and you win trophies and you win ribbons and all that. Same with AKC, but CKC and UKC, they you have to have dual quality. So whatever the dog was bred for, intended to, they want them working in that, and they want them in showing confirmation classes. AKC, you can pick and choose. Um, a lot of AKC dogs, they're absolutely gorgeous, flashy. There are different standards that you have to meet for the AKC, and they start out at different classes. Like for puppies, you can go in and compete 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months. You can do bred by exhibitor. You can show in everything. The highest ranking in the show is best in show, of course. The one underneath that is best of group, and then there's best of breed. So if you have a German Shepherd and it's won all the classes in the German Shepherd class, and then it wins best of breed, it waits, and then it goes. I mean, this is like an all day, 2 day, 4 day event thing going on sometimes, depending on how many dogs are there at the show. So they wait against everybody in that group. So German Shepherd is Oh, herding dog, I think now. It used to be working dog. I think it's a herding dog now. So it waits for Old English sheepdogs. It waits for the Australian cattle dog. It waits for all those dogs. I think the Australian cattle dog still may be a rare breed. It might be in miscellaneous class, but it's been a little while since I've been to a show. So anyway, they compete in their class after with the group, their group. And if that German Shepherd, male or female, wins group, he gets best in group. And then you wait for all the other dogs to win best in their group, like the best toy, the best German Shepherd, the best sporting dog, which could be a pointer, English pointer. So after that, they all compete against each other. And yes, it's different for every dog. There's judges that judge specific breeds because they study them, they know their conformation, and they have to pick the dog that best represents the quality of the standard of the AKC dog. So, like for best in group, for the best in show dog, they have to know all the breeds. Where best of breed, they have to specialize in just that breed. So the higher you go up, the more complicated it is. Of course, you get more points for what you're doing. German Shepherds tend to have more dogs in their class, Dobermans, Rottweilers, because they're more common. The less common dogs, pugs, miniature pingers, there's a lot of dogs in those class. So you need more dogs to get kind of less points. And the rarer breeds like the Puli or Pulik, it's Hungarian quartered breed. That dog, there's not so many of them, so you need less of them to get the same amount of points that, say, 20 German Shepherds would have for four Pulis, because they are such a much more rare breed. Okay, so kids with they can enter as junior showmanship if they get under a professional handler's wing, which is kind of what I did. I snuck in the back of a van and buried myself somewhere and showed up at a show and said hi. I was younger and I wanted to go to a dog show, and it's the only way I could get there, so that's the way I did it. Because I didn't show for a long time. I didn't handle any dogs. I did handle them to take them to the bathroom, pick up their poop, exercise them, play with them after the show, because it's really important. They have a great time after a show because they are always very up, and they have to look great. You've got to be in the best spirits. It's really important for a show. They've got to love it. So you have to do everything to make them love it. If it's a hot day, you cool them down with ice packs. You do whatever you can. There's fans on them. You have to keep them cool. So junior showmanship. That's kids. That what they do is they judge the children, the kids. There's different age ranges. So younger kids can compete against younger kids. They're handling their own dog, and then the older kids compete against the older kids, and they're usually more experienced than the younger, of course. So that they compete, they do the same thing that an adult does. They bring them around the circle one at a time. They set them up. They have to handle the dogs. The judge comes over and checks out the dog, checks out the dog's bite, make sure the teeth meet. They make sure that the child can handle the dog appropriately. If there is a female going into heat, a male has to be handled correctly. A dog cannot be out of control because, of course, the child won't do well. They won't get a prize or get a ribbon or get points at the show. So anyway, the kids are judged, not the dog. The dogs are, as far as they have to respond to the child. So that's junior showmanship. Junior showmanship is also good for the kids have to be dressed appropriately. They have to be professional. They have to be able to communicate with the judge. They can't be just completely intimidated by them. The judge will ask them some questions about temperament. What do you do in this situation? What do you do in that situation? And then they'll give them suggestions about, well, you could do this with your dog to handle it better. They're trying to make it easier for the kids because it is very kind of an intimidating place the first couple of times you go, but then they become more confident and better. And some of them become professional handlers. So, and there are scholarships and grants available for kids that want to continue with dogs. So I've gone over the best of breed. When you do win best of breed, the next one down would be best of opposite. If best of breed is a female or bitch, the best of opposite is the male, of course. So that would be one under best of breed. So those are both good. So if best of breed, I got to kind of explain this. If best of breed for some reason later is found to be disqualified for God knows what reason, could be anything, then best of opposite would move up to best of breed because the best of breed was disqualified. It does happen. But there are always checks and balances everywhere you go in life, so that does happen. So you do get ribbons, you get scholarships, some get grants. And how to do that? They all need an AKC registration paper, which then you fill out the information, write the dog's registered name, you pick that, you mail it in, then they send you back a registration number. They can also do the FSS Foundation Stock Services, which is breeds that are coming into but not recognized as of yet by the AKC. You can show with them. And that is about it. As far as confirmation, although it's much more detailed than what I said, but it's a very elite thing. They do have dinners, they have shows, they've got circuits, like for instance, New England Circuit. It can be up to a 2-week thing where you have 3 shows in Connecticut that you go to, 4 in Massachusetts, a couple in New Hampshire, a couple in Vermont, a couple in Maine. So you are traveling and making a circuit, and you have to be under different qualifying judges all the time. And then there are very prestigious shows. Westminster Garden, I had a Vizsla champion, Firebrands Cavanchi, and when she was 9 months old, in order to get to certain shows like Madison Square Garden, you have to be invited to them. So only the best of the best go there. And she was 9 months of age and won her championship through Madison Square Garden. So that was exciting, and I was very young, and it was a good time. It's always exciting. It's always good with dogs. So it's a lot of bonding. It's a lot of high fives. It's a lot of excitement, and then there's long, long, long times too, and it's a lot of work. But they learn, especially kids, they learn nutrition, coat management, grooming. They learn everything. They also learn how to speak to adults, which it's a good thing nowadays. That's all I'll say about that. Okay, so I'm going to move on, and next I'm going to talk about obedience. Obedience, there's a lot of different titles. There is, in order to compete with obedience, you can do, you have to have AKC, depending what show you go to, because obedience is AKC, CKC, and UKC. So either if you're AKC, you need the AKC register. You always need a number to compete with a lot of these. So you need the AKC registration number where you send your paperwork in, you get your dog's name, they accept it, and then you're given a title, a number, and then that way it goes under the genealogy of the parents, because you also have to label the parents, and the parents a lot of times also have to go through DNA testing to prove that they are exactly who they are. Because in the past, years ago, if a grandfather had died, they would use a sire, a younger male, under the grandfather and lie about it and say that he was the grandfather who had all these titles, and that's not okay. So they changed things up. So now they need the DNA testing. So anyway, if you do obedience, you can go through the partner, um, oh my gosh, program, ugh, I'll get to it in just a minute. Foundation stock, which is the breeds coming to be, but they're not yet there. So you need a number through them, the AKC number, and then PALS is what it is. That is for mixed breed dogs. So you can have any dog. There's also a program where there's also dogs that don't have registration papers, yet they're purebred dogs. So you send their information in and they give you a number there as well. So it depends which criteria your dog falls under. That's how you get different numbers. Obedience also has scholarships and grants available. Everything does. just check into dogs. And so it's the Canine Partners. It's the mixed breed program. So with obedience, you can start off. I'm going to go through titles really quickly, and so I'm going to akc.org. I have gone on quite a bit, and I've gotten a lot of information from them because it's been a while since I've been in the show world. But I just wanted to double check and make sure that they are. Um, I just let you know about them and that I have been on their site and I got some of their information from there, such as all of the obedience titles. I did a little bit of obedience myself, but I didn't get into it heavy. But I do love it. I love all of everything having to do with dog. Obedience. So the first one level is companion dog. The next is CDX, which is companion dog excellence. Then comes utility dog, and these are scent discrimination also. And then UDX is utility dog excellence. And then OM is obedience master. OGM, obedience grandmaster. OTCH is obedience trial champion. NOC is a national obedience champion. BN is beginner novice. GN is graduate novice. GO is graduate open. VER is versatility. PCD is preferred novice. Preferred open is PCDX. Preferred utility is PUTD. PUDX is preferred utility excellence. And then the EOC is preferred obedience champion. There are two, all of the abbreviations I've told you, they go behind the registered dog's name. So I had a St. Bernard champion win songs. I'm a Magic Man. So he had, if he were, I didn't do obedience with him, and that was not his thing. So he was showing, but he was not, definitely not obedience. He was a wanderer, which is normal. But anyway, so most of those titles, they go behind the registered name. So it would be like champion, which is Joe Champion, Joe Champion, win songs, I'm a Magic Man, and then it would be PUTD, preferred utility dog. That would be after. So NOC, National Obedience Champion, and POC, which is Preferred Obedience Champion. Those are the two that go before the name. National Obedience Champion is national, all countries competing. So it's definitely more prestigious, and that's why they go before. Okay, so okay. So I'm going to continue because there's a lot of information. So I've gone over a little bit about um, the rescues and all that. You cannot put them into shows. There are also, real quick, there are matches that you can take your kids to before they compete. Or if you're just getting into show, it's good to go to a match. Matches are usually held directly before a show or directly after a show. It's good to, it's like a test sort of for yourself and to get better. It's good to go to some matches just so that you can improve yourself. It's like a training thing. You do get some ribbons here and there. They're smaller ribbons. They're not the big grand rosettes that you do get at the shows and the trophies that you get at the shows. But it's a way for kids to start learning what's expected, especially with junior showmanship and obedience. It's good to go to the matches. It's just kind of like having training wheels in a way. But it's a good way to get your foot in the door. And then you start competing. And the shows, you have to sign up for confirmation shows, which is on akc.org, that you sign up for months in advance and make sure your dog is not in heat at that moment or won't be in heat, because you can't go when that happens, because you will wreak havoc. Okay, I'm going to go on and talk a little bit about search and rescue. Search and rescue is a great passion of mine. And we do have a search and rescue here in Maine. It's called MESARD, Maine Search and Rescue Dogs. And there are different certifications that you can get. And one is basic obedience. Well, you have to have that. Puppies can start at 3 months for training for it generally takes about 3 years for them to go on searches. because that way, it's definitely ingrained in them and it's just instinct and they just do it. Training, usually 20 minutes, half hour a day. You definitely want to do training. Training is all fun and games for the dogs. They love it. And it should be for obedience. It should be for everything because your bond is really strong and it's amazing. You'll want to train as much as your dog will. It's training, but it's not training. It's not like taking a class you don't want to take. If you ever do any training at all with a dog like that, don't do it. Stop. Because you should love what you're doing and your dog should love what you're doing. So, okay, so there are different certifications in order to become a search and rescue dog and specialize in anything. So there you do need basic obedience, but when you're starting at 3 months of age, you're going to get that eventually. So don't worry about it. You can do it while you're doing search and rescue work. There is air scent wilderness certification. There is basic tracking or trailing certification for advanced tracking and trailing, certification for article search, certification for water search, certification for human remains detection, certification for disaster, certification for avalanche, and certification for humans as well. And there are many of them. There include compass readings. There are drones that they use nowadays, certification for that. There's horseback certifications. There's four-wheeler certifications. Everything that you use, um, there are certain certifications. There's the one that directs everybody on where to go. That everybody is certified and trained, and they work together like a finely oiled machine. And it's really important too. And search and rescue is used for kids that have wandered off a camping site and they can't find them, for people that have gone hiking on the Appalachian Trail and all of a sudden they're gone. Nobody's heard from them for a few days to a week and they can't find them. And so the dogs are brought in. Usually a drone will go out first. If they still can't find it, then the rescue team goes in. It's good not to have a bunch of people. If somebody takes off, disappears, try not to mix up the ground too much, although a lot of dogs are air scenting and they do look for particular scents or smell for particular scents. So they're pretty good at distinguishing where that one person is. And there are many different breeds that they use. The hounds, of course, are great. The German Shepherd, the Boxer, the Belgian Malinois is incredible. And they move fast. There's the Saint Bernard, the Newfoundland, especially for water work. Those dogs are amazing. Just jumping out of it's amazing how they jump out of a helicopter at a lower distance. Absolutely amazing. All of those dogs should, and they use them at 911. They use them everywhere. Avalanches. They're amazing. And for them to work as well as they do with their handlers, they are highly, highly bonded. And just, it's an amazing thing to see, amazing thing to be part of. If you ever want to volunteer for a search and rescue team, they need search and rescue volunteers all the time because these dogs are training. And they usually train Saturday or Sunday if they're available to. And they need people to hide up in trees. Teenagers would be great. Older kids, they can hide with their parent. They need to find these people, and they also train with cadaver dogs or human remains detection. Names change over time. So there are all kinds of different things that you can help out with as far as volunteering. There's always something. I mean, even for the handlers, if you want to be able to bring water in, bring some snacks in, bring whatever, there is always something to volunteer for, especially on a scene of a disaster. So that is search and rescue dogs, and it is a great passion of mine. I don't do it. I did do it. I don't do it anymore. When I do want to give a plug for a Chihuahua that I know. There's a Chihuahua that is a bomb detection dog. You can take any dog, and if you have a bond with it, you can make it do unexpectedly intelligent things. The only one holding that dog back is the person that is feeling bad for that dog. If you have the highest expectations for that dog, whatever dog you may have, it's amazing what that dog can do. Okay, so that's search and rescue. And they are all over throughout the states. California has, I'm sure, tons of search and rescue places because it is such a large state. Alaska, I'm sure, has quite a few. It's just the more rural the state, the less search and rescue, but they are very definitely needed. And so the volunteers definitely crucial to where they are today. Okay, so I'm going to continue on. So that was confirmation and then search and rescue. Now I'm going to get into herding. I have customers that come in, lifetime groomer, and they talk about how their dog herds their family. They're always looking for something to herd. And so it is possible. I mean, it is an instinct, and it's fun. Everything is fun with dogs. It's the way it should be. So if your dog does display herding instincts, you can enter your dog into herding trials. They do need a registration number through AKC or PALS or the foundation stock. There are different ways of getting those numbers, but you just go on akc.org and look up the herding, and you can go with the herding competitions. I would suggest that the first time you go, that you have a test, and it's called the instinct test. And that way, the judge will tell you if your dog has the instincts to go ahead and compete with herding. And then you go into herding trials. And something I didn't know that I find really interesting is one of the dogs there are 63 breeds, including the Samoyed, that are eligible for herding. And it's pretty amazing. You can do mixes of these breeds as well. There's another one that's very much the German Shepherd is a herding dog, and the Boxer has these instincts too. There are several of the breeds that are acceptable. I would suggest you go on akc.org if your dog has any instincts at all towards herding, and sink yourself into it. Read it, educate yourself. All of this stuff is family oriented, and it's something to be extremely proud of for you and your dog. Something else that's a lot of fun, Earth Dog. If you have a terrier or a dachshund, they are made for finding vermin. And they are very, very good at it, and they love it. So put your dog on a long leash and go for a walk out in the country. And if you come across a stone wall, pile of sticks, whatever, keep your dog on the leash just so you're in control of whatever situation, because chances are there may be something in there. Let your dog nose around, see if he's interested, kind of encourage him to smell around the stone wall or whatever, or a pile of odd sticks that you find that has been sitting there for a while. Encourage him to check it out. Say, what's in there? Have fun with them. And so a squirrel might pop out, a rat might pop out, a mouse, a chipmunk, whatever might pop out. That's why it's kind of good to leave it on a leash so the dog won't take off on you. But a badger, I mean, chances are a badger is in a burrow or groundhog. So if they investigate in a hole in the ground, I would kind of encourage you to keep them on a long leash just so that you can get your dog away. But keep in mind that an animal that a dog goes after runs away from the dog. It does not attack a dog. So your dog is very, very safe. But anyway, Earth Dogs, go on akc.org, and there's really no training for this because it's all instinct, and have fun with it. And when you go to an AKC trial, CKC trial, UKC trial, those animals that they use for baiting the dogs to go hunting, they're in a very strong little cage. And then they're put in like underground and then covered by like a wood board to give them, definitely some airspace. And then covered by some rocks, sticks, whatever. And then the dogs literally have to go hunt for them by scent, by smell. And it's exciting for the dogs and it's exciting for you. And you get some bragging rights and you get to learn how proud that you can be and how amazing your bond can be. Okay. And it's a lot of fun to watch your dog get so excited. I mean, how exciting! That's exciting. That builds a bond. And your dog, oh my gosh, your dog's going to be completely different at home. It's not going to be a pain in the butt. Okay. So, hunting is something else that is huge, especially in rural states like Maine. And I encourage it because it's bonding for the family. They do the hunter breakfast and they all get together. They all get dressed up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. I am not a hunter, not that early. Um, I'm more of a hunter that goes and takes pictures. I'm not one that will hunt, but there's a lot of people that do, and you should. It's a great family thing, and you use hound dogs. They go hunt. There are coyote hunters, and those hounds run, and the coyote run. And in the wintertime, they tend to run down roads, which there's not a lot of traffic on roads in the winter, and because the roads are easier to run and they can really stretch out. And the hounds are, they never catch them. They're behind them. And then, they find them and then they'll start treeing or barking or baying. And to hear an animal that's found a hound that has found an animal, it's just exciting and fun. And you have a lot of pride in that animal. And then if deer hunting in Maine, they discourage using dogs, although I know other states do. I do want to put a informational thing. If a the other thing I wanted to, I don't know about all the state laws and all that, but I do know in the state of Maine, if dogs are used on deer, the game wardens, if there's not humans with them, have the right to shoot dog or a pack of dogs, domesticated, whatever, on site if they're ripping apart a deer. So just keep that in mind. There are people that buy dogs to do that, but you should just know that a dog can be shot and killed on site by game wardens in the state of Maine, and check with your own game warden laws, regulations, whatever, and make sure that that doesn't happen with your dog. Okay, so lure coursing is something else I'd like to get into. Coursing is a lot of it's fun. When you think lure coursing, you probably think of greyhound and how they have the basket muzzles on and they just have a terrible life because there's no human interaction and all they do is race, race, race. But and they don't get taken care of very well emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever. However, these are coursing hounds, all of them. The Italian Greyhound, the Whippet, the long-haired Whippet, the Borzoi, the Saluki, the Sloughi, the Ibethan Hound, the Scottish Deerhound, all these sight hounds, coursing hounds, they hunt by sight, and their genes are strong. Their instinct is strong. So they do have lure coursing available for beautiful ribbons. And this is all by instinct. And it's fun to watch, it's exciting to watch, and you will be in awe at what your dog can do because of instinct. With lure coursing, they use mechanical lure, which generally is a white plastic paper bag. And there is a person that operates the lure, and it stops and starts, kind of like a bunny. That's how it gets the dog's attention. Anyway, they run in usually packs of 3, and they usually wear a light, soft blanket with either pink, blue, or yellow because it differentiates the dogs from each other. And they are judged on speed, endurance, and agility. And there's a test that they can do that's non-competitive, and it tests the instinct if they are good at doing such a thing. The trials are competitive, and there is no training for lure coursing because they love it so much and it's just what they do. And there is early socialization that is suggested because dogs need to get along with dogs, and that's a must. And you can also check out lure coursing on akc.org. And this is something you do as a family event. It's fun, it's exciting, and it's another way that your dog won't be destroying your house. If they've got that instinct, let them use it. It'd be nice to go out, have a picnic with the family, enjoy the day, and do some lure coursing, and your dog will be loving you. If your dog can do what it's made to do, it will love you. It will be the best dog that you would even ever imagine. So anyway, that's available. There's also something newer called Fast Cat. Fast Cat stands for, it's fast, a fast race. Cat stands for coursing ability test. And that is one dog at a time, and it's 100 yards. And they, again, have a white plastic bag lure. And they stop it and start it, kind of like a bunny. It gets their attention. All dogs can participate in this, purebred or mixed breed. That's different than lure coursing. To be eligible, they have to be 12 months. They have to have an AKC registration number or Canine Partners number or Foundation Stock number or Purebred Alternative number. The Purebred Alternative number, again, is the number they get usually from AKC, American Kennel Club. And that's if they are a purebred, but they don't have a registration number. So you're able to get a number through them so they can compete in sports. For purebreds that, so they also need to be, for mixed breeds, they have to be spayed and neutered. They can compete. Females in heat are not allowed to compete because they just wreak havoc. We all know those. The limited registrations for AKC registration numbers, they can also compete. So it's a great day. It's a lot of fun. It's very family oriented and it promotes bonding with you and your pet and your family and your pet. And it's great. So something I'm going to leave one for the last. Something else that I'm in particularly interested in. I'm really into search and rescue work, but I'm getting older, so I'm not doing that anymore. Although I am interested in AKC scent work. I've not done it yet, but I'm very interested because I would like to have a dog again. It's been a long time without one, and I love when a dog uses their natural abilities. And so I may get into scent work. For AKC scent work, you go on akc.org like everything else. Your eligibility is you need an AKC registration number or purebred alternative listing or Canine Partners program. And for scent work, they have to be 6 months of age or older. And there are different divisions. There's an odor search division, which a dog looks for certain essential oils. And then there's also a handler discrimination division, which is searching for the scent of their handler, whatever they've touched. There's different elements. So there's a container that scent is concealed in a briefcase or a cardboard box, and the dog has to alert to it. There's an interior element where the scent is in or on an object indoors. Could be in a barn, could be in anywhere, arena, inside a house, inside anywhere. Exterior scent is outdoor search area. They have to locate with wind changes, weather changes, conditions, and distractions. Children screaming, rain pouring, thunder, lightning. And then there is buried scent, where it would be in a small container and literally buried in the ground, and they have to find that. Okay, so there's different levels. There is novice, advanced, excellent, and master. And a qualifying performance, dogs must use their nose to find the scent, and then they must alert to their handler. It could be many different types of an alert. An alert could be sit, it could be a down, it could be pawing at something, it could be barking, it could be pointing. Whatever works between the dog and the handler, they use as an alert. That would be an alert. To qualify, the team must get all of the scents within a certain period of time frame without going off track. And the teams are all ranked 1 through 4 based on the fewest numbers of faults. And training, it can be done. Training can be done at home. It can be done in the community. It can be done at a waterfront. Could be done in the woods. Could be done anywhere. Could be at a friend's farm. Could be in the city. Could be anywhere. And in Maine, we have there are different kinds of scent work, and the clubs that offer it is called nose work. For instance, I would look up nose work or akc.org scent work. In Maine, we do have one dog tracking club. It's called the Dog Tracking Club of Maine, and it is located in Rockport. And it's called www. You don't have to do that anymore, but gonetracking.com. And they are located in Rockland, Maine, which is down on the coast, beautiful area. And they get together monthly for meetings, and you can pay dues and become part of their club. And it's exciting because you're bonding with your dog. Yes, their scent's a little bit different than search and rescue, but still you get your dog working and You can advance to search and rescue. I mean, you're not getting prizes with search and rescue. It's a whole different thing. But, it could be a step up into that direction. Or, you could continue doing whatever you're doing. So you're always, there's so many things you can do. The other last one that I want to talk about is agility. And I have suggested to a couple of people that go to me that they really start considering this. Agility is the fastest growing dog sport in the country, at least in the United States. It consists of crawling through tunnels, weaving in and out of the poles, leaping through tires, running up and down ramps, jumps. There's a spot where they have to run up a ramp, wait, and then they continue down. All breeds and mixed breeds are available to go on this. They just need the registration numbers for whatever they may be under, whether they be mixed breed, AKC registration, the foundation stock, whatever number, they have to have a number to compete, and it has to be before that day. You can't do it as of that day. The agility has 14 to 20 obstacles. This looks like a lot of fun. It's great for bonding. And it's just enjoyable for the dog and for you. And you become proud of your dog. So that helps out a lot. It's great for families too. They get to cheer their dog on. And it's just, it builds a bond with the whole entire family. So they do suggest that you take an agility class at an AKC club, definitely AKC. If you go through other places, corporate pet stores, it's a different thing. It's not the same. Sorry, but it's not. So go through an AKC club near you. You can go on akc.org, and beginners classes run about an hour. But that way, if you're going to compete, the dog gets introduced to all the equipment. You get introduced to the equipment. And then you can do your own course at home, whether you go through your local hardware store near here is Gosline Hardware. Let's try to do let's try to do small businesses before we go to the corporate places. But they can help you get together to build your own course and see what you need. Write down, take pictures of whatever equipment, and you can build your own sometimes for less money than buying it from AKC. Of course, you can buy it from them as well. So always definitely consider competing. If you're going to compete with agility, your dog must be 15 months or older. It's got to be registered with AKC. And then for the other Canine Partners program for the mixes, they have to be spayed or neutered. They have to be in sound health. All of the dogs with all of these should be up to date with vaccines. You really want your dogs healthy. You don't want them spreading things like parvo, which would destroy everybody. Definitely encourage vaccines with everything. Rabies, of course, is always at an all-time high and a terrible thing to go through, humans and dogs. So anyway, thank you for joining Dog Fanatic. And I do want to say I am going over everything dog. It's because it's what I do, what I get into. And if you would like me to talk about something in the future, please write it in comments. You can, something with a veterinarian, you can talk about some disease your dog might have. If you have questions on working with rescue dogs, how do I get them out of being so scared and petrified of everything? I'm working with a few dogs on that now myself. And you have to go to the right person. When you're working with a dog like that, you don't necessarily want to go to an obedience trainer because a lot of them are more aggressive. I would suggest staying away from corporate places because they're given a week of lessons or 2 weeks of lessons, and they don't necessarily know as well as other places may know what they're doing. The best way of training your dog, honestly, is get involved in one of these because you're going to be building a bond. You're going to have a happy dog, and you're going to be training your dog yourself. And you'll learn how to as you're going through these classes. And there's nothing like it. Nothing can compete with it. Yeah, you can send your dog away to training. That's not going to bond you with your dog. Your dog's going to come home and it's going to be great for that other person. It's not going to be great for you because you're not doing it. You have to be involved in the training of your dog. So anyway, let me go back Please write in comments what you would like me to talk about, because I would love to get into that. And if I'm able to call you, say, please call. If you're okay with that, I can mention your dog's name, what your dog is going through, what you're going through, first name only, what maybe the state, what you're calling from, or getting in touch with. And there are different diseases out there now. There's new diseases that I will be addressing as well that I'm just learning about. But it's good to be educated about everything. If I talk about something really heavy, I may follow up with the next one, something not so heavy. For instance, something I do in my off time or when I'm grooming in a zone or whatever. I think of if humans were dogs and they had dog characteristics, health, that they acted like dogs, what they would be like. I call them dog humans, human dogs, because that's kind of what they are like. I've written a little bit about it, but I'll be talking about it on this just for fun. And I would say in the title, fun, so that you would get a heads up on that. If you don't want to listen to it, fine. But some of it's fun. Some of it are German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Dobermans, Scottish Terriers, Golden Retrievers. It's just kind of fun to have humans that act like dogs. Some do. Anyway, thank you for joining, and please subscribe and write in the comments what you would like to hear about. Okay, thank you. You have yourself a great day.